What's up, guys? This is Entity Rhino here with the very first episode of Why This Gun is Trash. And as you can see, I'm using the KN-44 playing some Nuketown here. And I guess this is my personal opinion. I got the True Vet on here. This was really early, really super early before they fixed the little head glitches and stuff like that. This is before the first patch, basically as soon as the game came out. So, like I said, domination on Nuketown. This is my favorite map. I like it a lot, but that's not what we're focusing on. We're focusing on the gun. So, as you can see, there's a lot of really just like it's hard to get kills with it. First off, in the pre-patch, and what I mean by that is it was kind of a like you spray a lot and you get like that one that should have been a kill, where I got a 50% assist on it, but that doesn't matter. And so getting headshots is kind of easy. I'm not gonna bore you guys with the how to go through the camos and stuff and all that stuff. You guys should know that it's headshots. Get 100 of them, and then you gotta get 50 without and all that stuff. So I'm not gonna bore you with that. I'm gonna talk about my honest opinion of this gun. Pre-patch, like I said, which is what this gameplay is, it was not very good. It did still melt just like every other gun, but it wasn't like a Man of War. It wasn't a lot of stuff, so that didn't really help. But as you can see, I'm kind of spawn trapping here. I got this spawn trap for a little bit, and it's a good camping gun because if you look at it, it's got very, very minimal recoil, and so I like that. You can throw a foregrip on there and have no recoil at all. And that one just got, as you saw there, it had really tight hipfire spread and kills really quick if you get aiming down sights and get all the shots on. What hurts it is it can't be, or you lose to submachine guns a lot, like you just saw. So I got melted by that machine gun, or submachine gun, the Weevil. And if you're not really paying attention like I was right there with the trip mine, you're going to get killed a lot too. But so you got to really be paying attention. You lose to the Weevil a lot. You lose to a lot of submachine guns, but with it being an assault rifle, you kind of expect that. At range is where this thing kind of is not an AR in some respects. Up close, obviously, it's going to melt because it's got that high damage, really accurate recoil pattern and hipfire. As you saw there, I kind of the guy was just laying there, so I just had to aim at him and get him. Right here is a good example of the wall penetration being moderately high, but not fantastic. You would want to run FMGs in that situation if you're trying to wallbang someone. So, like I said, this gun, it's a moderately good, moderately fast, really low recoil, really high accuracy. The one downside to it is that it doesn't reload very quickly, and now it has a lot more damage, so that's not really a big thing, but it doesn't reload that quick. And as you can see, I'm using the Sparrow now, which I'll do another review on once I get Hero Gear on the Xbox. But, so, I just want to mention that. That's another series to be looking out for. Right now, I'm going to be talking about the gun, just to keep talking about it. It sprays a lot, it's really accurate, like I said. At damage, or at range, sorry, you kind of drop off a lot on it. Like, say for example, the window to window, as you see me get a nice little cheeky kill with my trip mine there, but as you can see, I got 50 headshots now too. It really doesn't have a lot of bouncing recoil, and by bouncing recoil, you're gonna hear me talk about this a couple more times in the future too, if I have the gameplays where I'm showcasing it. What I mean by bouncing recoil is when you jump up in the air and your sights move, like what you just kind of saw. I barely jumped and they still move a lot. Although it doesn't really have a bunch of recoil when you're shooting it does have a lot of bounce recoil. And that's kind of a downside to me. I hope they nerf it just a little bit. And as you saw at range there too, that's another downside, is you're going to get a lot of hit markers, 3 to 4 hit markers, and 5, even from the little short range from B to the side. With this gun, you're going to want to run a little bit of a higher sensitivity. So for example, if you're at least on the horizontal axis, you're going to want to run at least one normal than what you're used to, or a stock to supplement it. But see, as you can see again there, to my point of range, you're at medium range and you're still getting a bunch of hit markers. So, but with this gun, you're going to want to sit around and get, that was a nice little two-piece there too. You're going to want to sit and kind of short to short medium range with this. You don't want to get super long because the recoil, even though how minimal it is, it's going to move up enough to mess with you. And so you're gonna lose to a lot of M8s, Man of War, something with really low recoil, Shiva, stuff like that. But if you stay in this medium to short range like that, if you charge them and they don't really expect it, you can get the hip fire kills, or you can camp like that guy was doing. Doesn't matter. That's another video for another time. But this gun's really good. I personally love it now that it's kind of they buffed it a little bit with the fire rate. And so I'm going to kind of talk about, I know I've been talking about the gun for a while, and now I'm going to kind of talk about what the perfect class would be with this. And I'm going to try to put up a screen grab somewhere in either at the end of the video or maybe right here. So I'm going to find a time to put up a screen cap after this time here. And so what you're really going to be looking for is whatever perks you run. And that's not really going to... The perks are going to be an interesting thing here, because I'm not really going to tell you which perks you should and shouldn't run unless there's a necessary perk. In my opinion, perks should be about what map/game mode you're playing. In this one, I'm running Flak Jacket, Afterburner, Tracker, and I think Tac Mask. And that's because I'm playing this, excuse me, I'm playing Nuketown. And with Nuketown, in the smaller maps, you're going to want to run Tac Mask and Flak Jacket almost exclusively. If not, you're going to want to run that a lot. So, just because people like to throw tacticals and EMPs and stuff like that, shock charges and all that stuff. And then grenades, obviously. So, I believe Flak Jacket's a good perk for any game mode, any type, whatever it may be. Tac Mask is kind of your choice if you think that in that certain game mode people are going to throw a bunch of tacs or concussions or whatnot. So, perks are completely up to you. I would recommend doing the perk challenges, but I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. I was being a dumbass there and trying to shoot my teammate, but I'm going to talk about in another video how to prestige insanely fast, how to like do that kind of stuff pretty quickly. So, with that, I just talked about perks. With the tactical and lethal, again, it's your choice. And like you could run Semtexes, frags, trip mines like I'm running. It's really your complete preference. I would not recommend concussions, or I wouldn't really run a tactical unless it's smoke screen paired with a thermal. That's, like I said, that's really up to you guys. And with the lethals, I recommend something that you get out fairly quickly, so like the animation doesn't take long, like a frag where it's kind of you pull the pin and throw it fairly quickly, compared to Semtex where you have to actually stick it and then throw it. Or a trip mine like you've seen is kind of slow in this one as well. It's really up to you guys what you want to run in those two slots. I'm not trying to tell you what I run or what I do. Personally, what I'm doing is I'm running a lot of... I run the trip mine and frag and Semtex more than anything else, because the thermite's kind of trash and the C4 takes away time from... like say you're in the middle of a gunfight and your C4 alarm goes off and you instinctively hit the C4 button and then you lose the gunfight. That doesn't really... There's no real payoff there. As you can see right there, that's kind of another example of the mid-range miss, where you get a bunch of hit markers and then you kind of just die. Or then you lose the gunfight. But going to attachments, now this is obviously personal preference and also how far along in the weapons prestige you are, but for what I would say when you're doing the 5 attachment challenge, you're gonna want to run whatever preferred sight you prefer. And that's because obviously everyone has their own preferences. And I prefer the ELO or the reflex. It really depends on... I usually prefer the ELO over anything. So with that, the 4... There's a 5 attach. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so the 5 attachments you're going to want to run. You're going to want to run, if you're going for long shots, you're going to want to run the suppressor. If not, do not run the suppressor. So that is that's really up to you. If you're going for long shots, the Varix 3 and the suppressor shorten the thing by the distance by about a quarter. But what you're going to want, the 5 perks you are, the 5 attachments you are going to want to run: quick draw to make it a little bit quicker, aiming up into your sight so you can move a little bit. Stock, on the same note, you can move just a little bit faster while aiming down sights. Foregrip, at least fast mags. And then the fifth attachment's really up to you. It really depends. I'll give you 2 choices here. You could either run extended mags, or you could run high caliber. And with high caliber, you get a few more headshots, and I would recommend running high caliber early on because it kind of seems like it aim assist up to their head a little bit. So that's really up to you. I would choose FMJ or high caliber. It's really your personal preference, whichever one works for you. If you want more headshots, go for high caliber. If you just want a little bit more damage, bullet penetration, go for FMJ. So that's it for the gameplay. That's what I think about this gun. It's really a nice gun. It's kind of trashy because you get a lot of hit markers and stuff. So yeah. So that's the end of this episode of the KN-44. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I really like this series, and it's gonna be really fun. As you can see, I got like 4,000 points, and I went 35-28. So once again, hit the like button, comment which gun you guys want to see next, and stay tuned for the rest of the series and more good content coming from Dark Entity Gaming. Peace out, guys.